When developers talk about Vercel, they usually mention one thing, and that's that it just works. But what does that mean in real terms? How are teams from solo builders to engineering leads using Vercel today? What does it make easier? What does it unlock? We talked to developers across the ecosystem to find out how Vercel shows up in their actual workflows. Here's James Quick on what's top of mind for him right now.
Partial pre-rendering is something that's been talked about for a while. It's been experimental for a little bit, but that's been kind of a game changer on how we build applications. We've had streaming for a while, but it still requires, on a technical side, you still have to make a full round trip to the server wherever your application is deployed, versus in the future with PPR, you can deploy that static shell on a CDN. It's replicated all across the world and then still be able to stream in the asynchronous data. So you get the best of both worlds, really. And so it's kind of a combination of all the best practices that have been evolving the last couple of years, all in one platform. And how Vercel happens to do that, to stitch the static CDN part with streaming and stuff from the server, I don't know. It's really cool, but I don't have to worry about it. I just had a few lines of config and it works.
That mix of power and simplicity comes up again and again, especially when the platform fades into the background and just lets you build. For smaller teams and solo devs, that simplicity shows up in the speed of shipping. For them, Vercel is often the fastest path from idea to reality.
Definitely on the V0 team, the feature that we use the most and that I'm personally most excited about is just our native feature flags. So on V0, every time we release a new feature, instead of having to have a big complicated launch calendar, launch schedule, we just throw that behind a feature flag, keep pushing PRs however we want without necessarily affecting the user experience while we develop the feature. When we're ready to beta test, it goes out directly to customers by just flipping it on for a select group of customers and for Vercelians internally to dogfood the product. And then when we're ready to launch, we launch the feature. And it's software development, bugs come up. Anytime something bad does happen, instead of having to roll back, another great Vercel feature, we can just turn off the feature flag temporarily, push a hotfix, and then turn it back on.
The Vercel dashboard and Vercel deployment features is just amazing. It just makes your life easier as a developer.
What are you using specifically with the deployment to help y'all out?
I use GitHub, because you're able to connect your GitHub to Vercel. So that's the good thing. You can straight connect your GitHub to Vercel and do all your deployment from the terminal. Anytime you push a new commit, you get a live preview branch that also gets deployed so you can test it.
That's a big one.
What happens when you go from a team of 1 to a team of 40? That's where developer experience really matters.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me that my team uses is getting rid of the queue for your deployments. The way we do it at City is we branch off of our main branch. Then we push that branch, of course, and then Vercel automatically creates a preview deployment. But when you have 40 developers working on the website at once, that queue gets backed up for those branches. So not having to wait for the queue is going to be incredible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What I'm excited about is what you are going into when you choose Next.js to deploy on Vercel as a platform, right? People often make those comparisons with Vercel amongst other providers, perhaps Cloudflare, AWS, or maybe your on-prem architecture. What I really think is the value is all those things that you get out of the box or with little to no configuration, like the stage rollouts, for example. Huge thing, I guess, being able to release your application gradually, combine that with real user monitoring, observe how it behaves, how it performs, and decide on the next steps. That's really awesome. And I think the reason we're not doing that every time is because this is actually hard to do. And the whole infrastructure architecture, you have to build it yourself or combine a lot of tools together. That's what we often do for our clients. But obviously, again, the fact that it comes out of the box makes everyone's life easier.
If you use Next.js with React, right, you definitely want to have your components organized in a way that they're very reusable. For example, let's say I have a card component. You don't want to duplicate that somewhere else in your code base. You want to have it be robust enough to support most kind of props. So you can use the card components in several different places in your websites. I am excited for the future of Vercel and V0. The speed at which LLMs are coming out is actually quite astonishing. And Vercel seems like a company that is actually going to keep up with that speed. So I'm excited to see what they have in the future.
Developers want performance, but they don't want to manage infrastructure to get it. That's where Vercel really shines.
When we first launched Sanity, the Sanity.io site, we launched that on a custom React server component rendering machine on GCP. And I had a drone deployment, and our one SRE guy who was also responsible for the service back then, he had to think about this marketing site and wake up in the night if it went down and so on. That's not a way to live. So we lifted that over from that custom stuff to Next on Vercel. and he could sleep mostly, and we could move way faster. It was just way better developer experience.
You know, you see it all the time. You have your marketing website on vercel.com, and then you like, but the dashboard is vercel.com/dashboard. You think, how do you do that? Is that two different Next.js apps? There's hundreds of different ways to do that, and having a way that Vercel says this is how to do it and keep things nice and tidy, you really get that performance, that optimization thing. You're not constantly trying to catch up, getting them, you know, refactoring, trying to get that clean code. We built our own solution and it is not clean code.
One of the big shifts happening in 2025 is how teams are integrating with AI, not just as a feature, but as a part of their infrastructure. And Vercel is becoming a part of that solution too.
The beauty of Vercel and Next.js is the ability to really build the front end with like the front end cloud. And for a lot of our applications, to add in that security layer of token authentication, you have to traditionally deploy your own cloud, which is not really the forte of front end developers. So we had a lot of different solutions like 2-click deploys, but now you can bring it in as a simple route and have everything sort of all together. So it really provides us an ability to show not only the front end client, but interactions with some of our APIs without having to spin up full-on backends.
What are some of the things that you're excited about this year at Vercel Ship?
I'm really excited about the AI cloud that they just announced. That thing is huge, and I think it'd go great with our conversational AI engine because it really sits in there as the LLM, so it coordinates bringing in all the streams where Agora can like help push it to the AI cloud. The fluid compute looked really cool. The ability to not pay for all that downtime, right? You're paying just for the compute.
Yeah,
I was like blown away by that.
Yeah, so we use Vercel for a few things. So one of the things is that I work at Auth0, which is an authentication company. We do a lot of demoing, and Vercel has been like in Next.js just so easy to do. And when you use something like Auth0 and you use like the SDKs, you have something up and running in like 5 minutes. And sometimes you want to build just a quick PLC, which Next.js and Vercel is like really great for. You want to show like very fast impact to stakeholders, and you can ship Vercel, and you can ship AI, and you can do that really fast. I think that's one of like the big things. Like if you needed to build a POC really quickly with Vercel, show that, and then show value right away.
Finally, some teams aren't just building on Vercel, they're building for the ecosystem itself.
So a lot of cool new Next.js features announced today, but something I'm particularly excited about is here at Profound, we launched an integration with the Vercel native marketplace called Profound Agent Analytics. What this lets you do is hook up your log drain data into Profound. And here at Profound, what we do is we actually analyze all that data. So when our AI crawler is visiting your site and tell you which of your content is performing the best. So before this, developers had to basically go manually configure the log drain, hook it up to our API, and that may take about like 10 minutes or something. But now it's basically a 3-click integration. So if you have a Profound account, you go to the Vercel Marketplace, just click connect, and you'll start seeing the data flowing in automatically. So super cool we're able to do this. We love Vercel and Next.js developers. So anything we do to make their lives easier and have them get onto Profound, it's a win-win for everyone.
So what is Vercel in 2025? For some, it's just the fastest way to prototype. For others, it's where the front-end team scales safely. And for more and more companies, it's becoming the infrastructure that facilitates AI native workflows. It's a platform that helps developers focus on what they're building, not what they're deploying. I encourage everyone to try out Vercel's new offerings for themselves. Make sure you follow this.labs for the latest tech commentary and developer ecosystem updates. This episode is presented by this.labs. We help teams adopt AI technologies to get maximum value out of their work. For free developer resources and more information about our services, go to ai.this.co.